Welcome back to Footballology. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys for the report card. Now, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys last year, I'm not going to say they accidentally found defense, but they kind of stumbled upon a really good defense, actually. Drafting Leighton Vander Esch in the first round really gave them the depth and just the overall talent that they needed at the middle linebacker position. We knew what Sean Lee was, but we knew that every time he went out, that defense took a step back. So you bring in a guy like Leighton Vander Esch to pretty much fill that void. Now, not saying that he's the equivalent of Sean Lee, but the dude balled out, and you have to respect what he did last year. And I feel like if it wasn't for Darius Leonard at Indianapolis, he probably would have been Defensive Rookie of the Year, or at least right there in the mix. So then you look at that on the defensive side of the ball. Also, they moved Byron Jones from safety to corner, which was big time, not only for him and his career, but for that Dallas defense once again. So, like I said, they had a lot of pieces in. You had DeMarcus Lawrence that was actually like I'm gonna say it like he was on a proven contract, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna go out here and prove it." And he actually had a pretty decent year as well. So they kind of stumbled upon some decent defense, but their defense was still spotty at best. They had their ups and downs, but you can definitely see that they were building on something really great, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna do going into this year. So then you flip everything to the offensive side of the ball. They go out and get Amari Cooper for a first round pick. At the time, it looked like a horrible move because Amari Cooper was kind of sort of struggling in Oakland. So then you're like, all right, well, you give up a first round for, essentially a first round receiver. And then you're like, all right, let's see what happens. And then Amari Cooper comes in and pretty much revitalized their offense and revitalized his career. And it just looked amazing for both him, Dak, and everyone else involved in that situation. So that was pretty good. And then you move to the offensive line. The offensive line had its problems, basically with Travis Frederick being, getting his illness and things like that and being in trouble. And that really hurt them there. But you could see that the offensive line just, I don't know, it was hurting them, but it just didn't click the same. So that was something big as well going into this offseason I think they want to fix. And then, once again, you look at their options as far as offensive options. You bring in Amari Cooper, so he becomes like option two, option B, if you will. We already knew Zeke in the run game. That's option, one. That's the number one option. Move to Amari Cooper to option two, and then you lose Jason Witten. So then you're trying to find that option three, option four, and it was really hard and struggling for them down the stretch. And that's why they had to go out and get Amari Cooper, because without Amari Cooper, they didn't have an option two. Realistically, it was like Zeke, and then let's see who else can actually open up this thing. So those are two things that I feel like they want to address going into this offseason. Offensive line depth, which I feel like they've been trying to, since they built this offensive line, they've been trying to keep that depth and just the overall talent there. And so they've been working hard at that. Finding another offensive option as far as like being a threat on the field. I know we have Dak in his legs, but that's not where you really want to lean on. That's kind of more or less like a bailout, like last resort kind of type thing. You don't want that to be one of your primary offensive options. Your quarterback running the ball. That's too much. So the pick that the Dallas Cowboys made that I like, and the best pick in my opinion, was Trysten Hill. Now, when you look at him and what he's going to bring to the table, he's already explosive off the ball, which is really great. And like I said, a lot of teams are starting to move to this interior pass rush, this interior threat. A lot of teams want that. Everybody wants their Aaron Donald now. In my notes, I wrote down Chris Jones comparisons to him. Or he was compared to Chris Jones. I think he's that raw. When Chris Jones was first coming out of college, Chris Jones was extremely raw, but all the talent in the world. And I think Trysten Hill is going to be that same guy. I don't think we're going to see him make a huge impact this upcoming season, but I think he's going to help Dallas run those smaller sets. And I think that's what kind of hurt them when they played the Chargers. They were running a smaller set, but I don't think they had enough size and enough athleticism up front. Having a guy like Trysten Hill on that defensive line is going to change all that around. Going to allow guys like Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith to run around and do what they do best. And so you bring in Trysten Hill. Now he's going to improve your run defense, in my opinion. And I think that one underrated aspect of his game is his ability to get after the quarterback from the interior. So now what this is going to do is not only going to make DeMarcus Lawrence look even better, but it's also going to help him be a two-way player and then also be a key foundational piece on this defense. And then since you took him in the second round, granted you're going to have him for the for 4 years. I'm tripping. I was thinking he was in the first rounder. But since you took him in the second round, you're just going to have him for those 4 years. But I think by that time that contract comes up, he's going to get paid. I think he's going to be one of those players that a lot of people are going to look at, like, once again, as a foundational piece for this Dallas defense. You're going to have Leighton Vander Esch, you're going to have Jalen Smith, Trysten Hill, DeMarcus Lawrence, and then maybe, you bring in Byron Jones if he could stay on the same consistent pace and just like show that growth at the cornerback position that he showed this year. I think that these are going to be some quality foundational young pieces for this Dallas defense that's going to make them even more dangerous down the road, down the stretch. Now, if you look at the worst thing about this Dallas draft, in my personal opinion, is they went really running back heavy. Now, after I look at their team roster, as it's constructed now, I looked at their team roster. They needed running back for sure. But there were so many good running backs that went undrafted that I feel like they didn't need to go out of their way to go get or draft running backs. I feel like they should have put a bigger emphasis on trying to find that next threat, find that next weapon in the lineup. You know, find that third or fourth option guy. I don't feel like they have that guy on the roster right now. I know they got Allen Hurns, they got Tavon Austin, and I think they got a couple other receivers. I can't remember their name right now. And they got some guys, and obviously Jason Witten being back now, that kind of opens up things as well. But I feel like they needed a true possession receiver. I think they lose Cole Beasley to free agency, and they never try to really replace him. Holy crap, I can't talk. And so they didn't really go out of their way to replace him. But I was thinking like a guy like Hunter Renfrow, like a lot of teams didn't want to mess with him because of so many other things. But he's a true receiver. Like he's a guy that on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, he's going to be a guy you're going to want your quarterback looking for because of his short hands and his overall route running ability. Like, the dude's just a pure football player. So I felt like a guy like Hunter Renfrow would have been a really solid pick for them just to kind of loosen up things a little bit more. Now you have to respect him on those third downs. Now that screenplay to Zeke opens up that much more. Now that deep ball to Amari Cooper opens up that much more. I feel like they needed a true third down receiver. I feel like they needed a go-to receiver, a guy just with the short hands and the short route. Like, I don't need you to take the top off the defense. I just need you to be at this spot, at these sticks, on this down, for this reason, you know, and then he might get a touchdown or two here and there. But realistically, you were supposed to help the offense stay on the field and move the change. And I feel like they didn't put a big emphasis on that other receiver. They needed that other receiver. Unless you really feel like Allen Hurns can come on, I don't see it. With all that being said, I feel like Dallas still deserve a solid B. When you look at everything that they did, Trysten Hill being, like, in my opinion, the gem and the perfect pick for this team. And then you move on to Connor McGovern, who's a guy who's a center now, but also he can probably play some guard for you and things like that. He can move within the interior of the offensive line, which is going to create that talent and that depth that they need at the offensive line position, which is even more clutch. Then they got the Jacksons out of the Miami. I think that was pretty good. A defense or a pass rusher, and then a D-back or corner. So they're making bigger emphasis on this defense and trying to keep this defense as young and as talented as possible, and just trying to make sure this defense stay intact as much as they possibly can, because they know that at the end of the day, that's going to be the thing that's going to win them some of these games. You think about Dak and Zeke's first year, if they had a half-decent defense, they probably could have made a Super Bowl. Like, they probably would have been right there in the Super Bowl. It would have been crazy for two rookies to carry a team like that, but you could see that they had that ability early in their career. So now Dallas is making a big emphasis to try to put this defense in place and make it an impactful defense at that. So realistically, I think on both sides of the balls, at the end of the day, they're going to be a balanced team completely. They're going to be able to run the ball. I don't know if they're going to be able to pass the ball effectively, but they're going to definitely run the ball, obviously. And I think that defensively, they're going to be able to stop the run, and they're going to be able to control a lot of teams with some of the guys that they got on the roster. So I can see Dallas being right there in the NFC Championship game. Worst case scenario, NFC divisional game, just where they're at right now and where the roster is constructed right now. I really like this draft, but I really wish they would have picked up some other receivers or just really gave Dak that other option at the wide receiver position. So that's all I got for you, Dallas fans. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think about your team's draft report. You know, put it down in the comment section below. Did I grade it too high? Did I grade it too low? Who are some guys that you like that they did pick up? Did you like the running backs that they pick up? Anything like that, just let me know. I'm always here, and I'm always willing to comment and talk football. But if you're not a footballologist yet, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel today and become a footballologist. And stay safe, football fans.